If you're seeing this message, you are one of one, and your being is filled with limitless potential. At this time, things are stirring up. I literally saw a visual of a pot that's just being stirred. So take this as it resonates, but what I'm actually feeling from this is there's a lot of integration happening right now, and it's like making a soup, right? You have a bunch of different ingredients you're placing into the pot, and as you stir around those ingredients, things begin to marinate, and then the end product becomes something entirely different than the individual ingredients that were put in, but the ingredients are still there. They've just been alchemized into this delicious soup, right? Or this meal that's very nutritious and flavorful and comforting and nourishing. So that's how I'm seeing it. You know, maybe you feel as if literally like shit has been stirred up in your life lately. Maybe things feel kind of, I heard out of balance, but maybe things feel kind of disorganized for you right now. And it's like you can feel that the end product, like I was talking about with the soup, is coming. Like there is this end result that you are going to have everything that you need. You're going to feel fulfilled. You're going to be prosperous. You're going to be in alignment with your soul's highest purpose. All of that is coming in for you. But right now it feels like there is kind of like, yeah, there's some things that feel out of balance is what I'm hearing. I think for some of you, there has been like a heaviness that's been present in your energetic field. I'm feeling like a lot of us, we have been kind of revisiting aspects of our past. So whether that is you're feeling like this version of you that you've outgrown is kind of showing up again, kind of in certain ways, like rearing its head again, or you're noticing your nervous system is kind of feeling less, I won't say regulated, but maybe it's feeling less balanced than it typically is. Maybe you've been feeling more restless lately, or you have been going through waves of exhaustion. It's so important that you're resting right now, because there are a lot of elements that are going on, that are in your air, that are in your field. There are a lot of ingredients that you are still working on pinning down, is what I heard. So there's, you know, at this time, there's a lot of change that's happening. There's a lot of transitions happening internally for you. So you may not feel it being reflected externally right now, but there's a lot of recalibration. The versions of you that existed, there's part of this revisiting of the past that is coming back up, because, you know, with integration, with being a human in a spiritual experience, a lot of times when we go through certain things in life that were, you know, traumatic or very harmful, hurtful, you know, wounding to us, it can leave impressions and kind of like imprints onto our being. And so what I'm seeing right now is I'm actually seeing these as almost like blueprints, like codes from your life experience, this life, this incarnation. And they're being highlighted, almost like holographic highlight. And this is highlighting aspects of you that you have changed. You're not going back to this place. But because this was still relevant to your 3D experience, you're able to feel into this energy. You're able to tap back into it. You can access it again. It doesn't mean that you're going back to that way of existing. It just means you can feel it and experience it. I wonder if, I'm going to do some tarot, if the Chariot, because I saw the Chariot as I was shuffling. And what I heard is you're riding the waves to sovereignty. And so think about what waves represent, right? And I've talked about this a lot before. Just the idea of waves is you are not intended to overpower waves. You are not intended to out outrun waves. You're not intended to fight them or go against them. The waves are really there. The pull of gravity is relentless, right? It's there to teach you surrender. I think you guys are at a place in your life right now where surrender has been a theme, and I know, like, I'm sensing into a lot of impatience, like a impatient energy that's there right now, of just like I've put in the work, I've done the work. And you know, I think that's a little bit of the ego talking, right? Of like, I should be at a certain point right now. I should be reaping my rewards from this work that I put in. You already are. So I did hear that loud and clear. You already are. So think about aspects of you that maybe the version of yourself a year ago would look at and be like, oh my God, like I literally am a different person. I literally have alchemized this part of myself. I have changed. The version of me that exists now would not respond to this situation in the way that my previous version would have. And for the better, not for the worse. You know, everything that you do is a series of choices and steps, decisions. It doesn't make you less qualified because you chose differently for yourself in that place and time, is what I heard. It's not about being qualified. You don't have to qualify yourself. You're already qualified. It has nothing to do with becoming eligible or being qualified. It's you remembering who you are, and it's about the series of steps and choices that you make to experience the full emergence of that remembrance. I'm getting a little bit emotional because I feel like I'm talking to the collective that a big part of this process of remembering has come at the expense of a lot of emotional turmoil. A lot of, feelings of being taken advantage of. A lot of self-worth battles and overextending yourself so that you could prove your worthiness or your value to others that were living in a different existence than you are, a different level of awareness, a different dimension, honestly. A lot of people are not conscious of this idea of synergy, an energy exchange, and how important it is to be able to protect your peace, for lack of a better expression right now. But yeah, those are the people that were meant to, it's almost like the cracks, reveal the places where the light could get in. And you were never going to realize how whole you were unless you were able to feel broken. You were never going to be able to realize how whole you were unless you were able to feel broken. So it's the yin and yang, it's the binary, it's the opposite side of the spectrum, it's the ups and downs, right? And I talk about this a lot. I think what a lot of you are coming into right now is you're feeling a familiarity with what it feels like to be whole. And you're starting to understand that feeling of wholeness is so much different than what your ego or your human perception anticipated, could have imagined. And for a lot of you, it really is looking like honoring the sanctity of your inner essence, your inner world. These parts of you that deeply are needing to be experienced and witnessed by other people that are going through the same process. I mean, we're talking new earth energy right now. This is the moment where that frequency is, you can't contain it anymore. So whoever I'm talking to, you have released this idea of allowing yourself to be driven by others' chosen paths for you, because you have reached a revelation that I'm getting in like the last year, that you understand that other people, their perceptions of you were not ever going to align with your soul's higher purpose, your higher self. There's a lot of, I think, revelations that you guys have been having of like the misaligned energy of people in your field. And if you're noticing that, just know that that's because you're meant to surpass that, right? In your relational experiences with other people. So if you have people right now that are weaving in, and I'm literally seeing like weaving like a spider weaving a web, like in and out of your field, going in and out of your field. It's interesting. I heard Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost, that poem. But what I'm seeing from this lens is like, that wasn't for you. It was a different version of yourself that was perceiving gold in other people at the time, how they thought, their impressions of you, their understanding of you. But you have alchemized the gold into like platinum for yourself, or whatever you feel, would be more valuable, right? Because you are, your value, how you perceive your value is valuable in itself. It's the highest value, it's the highest metric of value that you could place on yourself is your own perception. Your perception is precious. And it's not just about your perception, but it's about embodied living. So not just feeling that way about yourself, but acting as if that is who you are, because you know that's who you are. And so for you to act in a way that's any less than how you feel about yourself at your highest expression, right? At your highest revelation of understanding who you are. It doesn't mean that it has to be a consistent or like a persistent occurrence that's present with you every day, but it will, at some point, it'll reach a point where it gets fully ingrained and integrated into your being. But right now I'm seeing that some of you are still kind of like in and out of having that revelation and feeling the presence of that revelation. Deepening desire. I heard deepening desire. A lot of you are deepening your desire to really know who you are, and not just from this worldly 3D perspective, but really understanding the magnitude of your soul's purpose. This is a lot about that chosen energy, right? You are chosen because you choose, okay? It's not to do with like who's pre-qualified or who's eligible. It's literally you deepening a desire to understand yourself and deepening your desire to remember. That's what that awakening is. And a lot of you have. And I'm getting like, for some of you, you're having doubts of if you have like kind of awakened to that, like the embracing of the magnitude of your soul. But if you're even thinking about it, then it's already been activated, right? It's kind of like it's a domino effect. I mean, you awaken, you understand, okay, there's something way beyond what I previously knew to be true. And then the further you go into that, that's that embodiment, right? Okay, well, I have this knowledge, and now I'm going to act as if this is true because it is. And it's kind of like behavioral activation. It's like the more that you behave and act in ways that really reflect internally what you know to be true, the more that's going to be revealed to you, the more that's going to expand, the more you're going to have opportunities and alignments and relationships and conversations and serendipitous events that begin to take place for you. And it's the universe reflecting back to you what you have just determined is your worth, is your understanding of yourself, right? So the universe reflects back to you your understanding of yourself, okay? That's why, I think, therefore I am, your thoughts do reflect who you are. But, maybe start to think about it in terms of I am, therefore I think. Because if you know the I am portion of who you are, I am graceful, I am abundant, I am compassionate, I am talented, I am intelligent, I am impactful, I am intuitive, then that's where the I am can then kind of be reflected in your thoughts. Well, if I am this way, then this is how I would think if I am this way, right? Or this is what I would do if I am this way. And that's kind of where that embodiment comes in. And it's also giving yourself grace because you're human, and this is your first recollection of what that feels like to have a human experience and being spiritual, right? Being a spiritual being. So it's okay to not fully feel immersed in that experience, or you're still having the human doubts, you're still having low vibrational days or moments. It's not about the absence of that. It's about the presence of the I am, the knowing, the being. Because who you are and who you allow yourself to be it influences everything else that we have been taught to believe is the most important aspects of ourselves, right? It's not about being a CEO, or it's not about being a founder. It's not about being a president. It's like, like whatever the prestigious, roles are in the society. It doesn't mean you can't be one of those things, but that's not where the value of who you are as a person, that's not where that comes from. You guys are awakening to truths about yourself that you were worried you would never meet. And I say that with a little bit of a heavy heart, but I understand how lonely this process has felt for a lot of you. I understand that it's felt isolating. I understand that you've had to willingly and consciously remove certain people from your orbit because it was kind of like the accordance, right? Or acting in accordance with the I am. It's like, well, I am harmonious, I am empathetic, but this person isn't allowing me to express that to the fullest extent or capacity. So maybe I need to really consider, what are the elements of my life, the external elements of my life, that they either, it's like additive versus detractive, right? They add this to my life, or they detract from this, this part of who I am. I think a lot of you are in that contemplative, reflective state as well. There's a lot of introspection that's happening for this collective. And, we're moving into Taurus season. So now it's looking at, am I secure in who I am? What are the things that bring me comfort? What are the things that allow me to feel the entirety of who I am and embrace that part of myself? It's like not so much now, like we're kind of slowing down. It's like, yes, still act in accordance with, that higher purpose that you're working towards right now. But now we're also kind of moving into like this stable, like earthly grounded energy of like, this is still who I am at my core and my roots. And I don't always have to do and act, and make decisions and stay on top of everything. Sometimes it's okay to choose to prioritize the cultivating of that inner essence of myself that I know is there, and really tap back into that. Life is a balance. It's a balancing act for sure, but it's meant to be a divine balancing act. It's not supposed to feel like you're always juggling a bunch of different things at once. It's being able to feel in the background, regardless of where you're at in your experience, the I am. Okay? I was gonna do tarot, but I think I just channeled for 20 minutes straight. So Maybe we will, in the next message, I'll make sure to bring out the tarot. But yeah, I mean, like the Ten of Shells is here at the bottom. So I really think this is what you guys have been alchemizing lately, is to get to that end product. And honestly, I'm getting that people that supported you and held you up in this way, it's not that their foundations were faulty, but it's almost like their level of support was not able to lift you to get to the place you needed to be in order to have these revelations and realizations about yourself that are here now. And so for some of you, you are starting to remove people from the pedestal and the platform, and you're choosing yourself. And you know what choosing yourself means for you. I feel like I don't need to explain it to you guys, because however you're choosing to choose yourself right now is the right thing for you. And that's the thing. It's right for you. And that's the part of knowing yourself and understanding yourself. Take a deep breath in with me. And out. And just feel into that for a second. You know who you are. It doesn't matter if this part of you, there's still like layers of yourself to be uncovered. That's going to happen. But you in this moment, who you are right now, you know who you are. And the level of understanding that you have about yourself right now is okay, because it's going to just keep expanding the more that you embody this aligned realization in your actions of who you are, okay? Rest. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you are eating balanced and nutritious foods that really are nourishing the parts of you that need it the most. Take that class that you've been putting off if you want. Oh, I think for some of you, you have been putting off some things that would really make your soul smile. Look to doing that. Look to getting that 2222 as I say that. Look to getting that on the schedule. Time is not linear. So there is no waste of time. You can always decide to do it now in this moment, because that's all we have is this now moment. That's where all the things shift, is what we do in this now moment, okay? I have such immense love for you guys. At the bottom of my heart, just so much gratitude for your souls and who you really are at your highest expression. It's so beautiful that it's ineffable. I can't even explain it. But you are so beautiful, and you are so full, and you are whole. And it doesn't matter how that expression shows up in your 3D reality. If you can connect to that feeling and you felt that before, then you know that to be true, and that can't be taken away from you. As always, it's such a joy to read for you guys, to tap into this energy, to use my being as a channel as well, to convene with your higher selves and as my higher self. And if this resonates with you and you're feeling into this energy and you want me to go a little bit deeper into what you're feeling in this moment, I do offer personal readings. You can book, and I'll have the link in the description. Thank you guys for your everlasting support. I couldn't do this without you. Thank you for being here, supporting me as I support you. It means the world to me. So take care of yourselves. Love yourselves today. I love you. And I can't wait to speak to you guys again. So I'll talk to you soon.